Now, it's not that I try to analyze the superpowers, because the superpowers themselves are just physically impossible. Oh wait, spoiler alert. They're just physically impossible. So what I do is I grant each character a one-time miracle exemption from the laws of nature. And I say, well, if you were super strong, or could stretch like a rubber band, or could run at super speed like the Flash here, or Dash from the movie The Incredibles, could you run across the ocean, or up the side of a building? Could you catch bullets in midair? All things that these characters are shown doing, all things that are correct from a physics point of view, once you make that suspension of disbelief. So here we see the Flash, who can run at super speed. He's faster than a speeding bullet, so a crook firing at him is not a problem. But what about the innocent bystanders that are in the way? The Flash is not invulnerable, he's just very fast. But with a sweeping motion, the Flash plucked them, the bullets, right out of the air before they could harm him. Editor's note: Flash's action in stopping the bullets is similar to that of a baseball fielder, who stops a hot grounder by letting his glove travel momentarily in the same direction as the ball. This is correct. This is how you would stop a speeding bullet if you had super speed. Last week, I picked up an object going 600 miles per hour when I poured myself some ginger ale on the airplane. It's going 600 miles an hour. I'm going 600 miles an hour. No problem. If I'm standing still and it's going 600 miles an hour, there's a problem. It's not just classical mechanics. You can actually also see in the Flash some advanced topics. Here the Flash is trying to run at the speed of light, but he's finding some difficulty with this. The mighty monarch of motion pours it on. They always had these great alliterative titles. He was the Scarlet Speedster, the Crimson Comet, the Tornado Titan, the Viceroy of Velocity. And he's thinking to himself, it's taking me a little longer than usual to reach light velocity. I wonder if I'm tired or something that could affect my super speed. Good gosh, there's no doubt of it. I'm slowing down. I'm going slower and slower despite all my efforts. I can't go any faster because I'm getting heavier. Something's happening to me. Now, those of us who know Einstein's special theory of relativity know exactly what's happening to the Flash as he tries to run at the speed of light. An alien is shooting him with a gravity increasing. It's a beautiful illustration. One more example with the Flash, because I just can't resist. Here in a story, typical Silver Age goofiness, he's got some chemicals on his hand that would harm anyone that he touched. It would cause like rapid super aging or something. So he's trying to stop some crook, but not actually hit them. And so he uses his super speed. He runs around a pear tree. And by setting up a current of air, I've shaken those pears from their branches. Now, by racing swiftly back to the car, I'll start a suction to draw the pears after me. I'll duck down and the pears traveling at high speed will do my job for me. Therefore, illustrating Newton's third law, which is sometimes expressed as forces come in pairs. Shaking their head. Now, this may sound like a silly premise, but there's actually something serious that I'm trying to do here. It will no doubt come as a shock to you, but some of my students actually find physics dull. I know, I feel the same way. This was driven home to me when I was going back to the physics building and I saw two students leaving. They'd obviously just had an exam returned to them. I'm going to repeat exactly what I overheard, but in deference to the Guthrie Theater, I'll clean it up. The taller student said to his friend, I'm going to bleeping buy low and bleeping sell high. I don't need to know about no bleeping balls thrown off no bleeping cliffs. Now, I would submit that there's at least 3 nuggets of wisdom contained in these phrases. The first, the secret to financial success. So if you get nothing else out of tonight, At least you've got that. The second, for those of you who are scholars of English grammar, bleeping can be both an adjective and an adverb. I suspect some of you already knew that. And many students don't find their introductory physics classes relevant. This is summed up in the standard student's lament, when am I ever going to use this stuff in my real life? Interestingly enough, whenever I use superheroes to illustrate physics principles, students never wonder when they're going to use this in their real life. Apparently they all have plans after graduation that involve spandex and knowing as I do how many crooked ex-scientists there are, I have to say this is probably a good thing. But the superheroes are there just simply to illustrate physics principles, and then I do show how they work in real life, from how airbags save lives in automobiles to how cell phones work. So I'm going to give you a little taste of the types of things we do in this class, give you a sense, and I hope you're so busy enjoying the superhero ice cream sundae that you don't notice that I'm sneakily getting you to eat your spinach at the same time. So the example I want to talk about is the thing that was written up in the newspapers. It involves Spider-Man and conservation of momentum, or what killed Gwen Stacy. Right? Spider-Man, created in 1962 by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Peter Parker, bitten by a radioactive spider, amazingly does not get radiation poisoning and die. But actually gains a set of fantastic powers with which he fights crime as the Amazing Spider-Man. The story I want to talk about was written in 1973 and published in Amazing Spider-Man number 121. And in this story, the Green Goblin, Spider-Man's foe, has kidnapped Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man's girlfriend, and brought her to the top of the George Washington Bridge in order to lure Spider-Man into battle. During the fight, Gwen is knocked off the top of the bridge and falls to her apparent doom. Spidey shoots his webbing down after her and manages to catch her at the last moment, though those with very sharp eyes will see a little snap sound effect here by her neck that will have bad consequences in a moment. He hauls her back up to the top of the bridge, where he discovers to his horror that she is in fact dead, even though he caught her. And this was a big deal in comic books. It was the first time that a long-standing recurring character, an innocent bystander, died when the hero and villain faced off against each other. And it's also rather historic because it's been over 30 years and Gwen Stacy is still dead.